Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob here, and in this video, I'm going to be going over my potential recession portfolio. I mentioned that I was going to try to make one of these in my last video where I talked about kind of my psychology and my thoughts on this potential recession. I'm going to be saying potential a lot because I want to preface that I have no idea if this is going to happen. But that is what I personally believe. Again, it could not happen. I don't think anyone knows if or if not it will happen. But my personal opinion is that the traditional equity markets are going to go lower, and that is what I have revolved my current portfolio around. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'll go ahead and minimize myself so you guys can see this little pie chart that I put together. Let myself down there. Okay. So this is a rough but pretty accurate breakdown of what my current portfolio is. And I'm going to consider this almost like a safe haven hedging portfolio, again, because I do believe equities will continue to fall. So right here we have crypto, gold, silver, and shorts. So I'm going to go over each one of these briefly and kind of give you a breakdown of what I'm investing in. I have a few tabs open of my largest holdings in each of these brackets. So I'm just going to go over these real quick and just give you guys a rundown of what I'm thinking and why I'm invested in these personally. Okay, so we have crypto. That is roughly 40% of my portfolio. If you've seen this channel before, you know that I do like crypto. I'm a crypto geek for sure. It's not all of my portfolio, believe it or not. I do like precious metals. I think precious metals are good as well. But I have a nice place in my heart for crypto, and that is where the majority of my investments lie. Now, the reason I put 40%, which is the majority of, that is my largest holding in my portfolio, is because I believe that after this potential recession, people are going to be really questioning the state of our current economy and the way that the entire financial system works, because this potential recession will expose kind of the flaws in how the Fed is capable of just pumping money into the economy to try to inflate it. Okay, so I'm not going to get too deep into that, but that is kind of the primary reason I think crypto will do well, and people are going to want something to put their money in because people are always going to want to make money, right? Especially if you're invested. If you are truly an investor, you don't want cash, right? Unless it's almost right now. Cash is kind of king right now because all markets aren't doing too hot right now. But for the most part, you're going to want to have your money invested, right? You want your money to make you money, okay? And when equities aren't performing and when maybe more traditional markets are not performing, people are going to want to flock to something that is going to make them money, right? And that I do personally believe that crypto will be that asset. I think that later this year we'll probably see a bull market in the cryptocurrency space, especially with the Bitcoin halving coming in May in a few months. So I think that will be a significant inflection point, and it will be a perfect storm in regard to crypto doing well when it comes to later this year and moving forward. Okay, so have crypto, have gold. Obviously, gold, tale as old as time. It is what everyone thinks of when they think of a store of value and a safe haven asset. So I think gold will do well. It's going down with other markets as well right now too. I don't think that'll last long. I think that gold, similar to crypto, and maybe in the near term, in the very near term, it won't do too well. Again, I don't know any of this. This is just my speculation. But I think over the course of this year, like come later this year, maybe summer, I think gold will do really well when specifically when equities release their quarter two earnings and people realize how big of an impact this is actually having on business and economy. So I think gold will do well. Another reason is that gold, when people want gold, they get greedy, if that kind of makes sense. I don't know if I'm articulating that properly, but gold is something that people get really greedy about. So once it starts going up, people are gonna get very greedy. So that's kind of my rationale. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but sorry, that made sense in my head. Okay, then we have silver. So silver right now is actually doing pretty bad in the grand scheme of things, but I think that almost, if you're familiar with how Ethereum acts to Bitcoin, so think of Bitcoin as gold, Ethereum as silver. In past bull markets, similar to gold and silver, like actual gold and silver too. Think of gold or Bitcoin as the bigger brother, and then Ethereum and silver as a smaller brother. And it's always gold and Bitcoin that pump up first. And then once they pump and typically past previous highs, silver and gold will kind of catch up just by almost like guilty by association in the best of ways. So I think silver will trail along with gold. There might be a slight lag on it, but I think silver will do even better than gold this year, because silver is at this point in time worth like doing worse than gold than it has historically. So I think silver has a lot more catching up to do, and when people start flocking to precious metals, I think silver is gonna shoot up. Like I think it's gonna rocket significantly more than gold in respect to their current prices. Okay, so we have crypto, gold, silver. So cryptos and precious metals pretty much is 80%, and then we have short plays. I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with futures or options trading, but that is the only way you can short. So I'm sorry if not, but if you are familiar with shorts, it's pretty much you are betting on the fact that a stock will fall. Okay, so shorts aren't a huge 20% is pretty significant, but again, the reason I made this portfolio is because I think traditional equities will continue to fall. Okay, at least for the near future. That's my most near-term play. This 80%, this could potentially not do well in the near term. Okay, this is almost an offensive play. This isn't a defensive play on my part. Okay, and that's something that I also want to kind of elaborate, is that this is not a defensive play. The safest thing you can do right now is probably just to have cash or bonds, right? That's not how I'm playing. I'm playing for the midterm, not necessarily the short term. These could all potentially fall more, but I think over the next 6 months or 6 to 12 months that these will do very well. And then my shorts are more near term, even to midterm plays, but this is more short to near term. So my largest short in my portfolio, which is what I'll start with, in AMD. So AMD is the largest equity short that I currently have in my portfolio. As you can see, this is tracking it from April of 2019. And as you can see, just in the past year, this has gone from $10 up to $60, which is oh no, shoot, I'm sorry. This is 2018. Okay. But okay, 2019 in April, it was $10. It got up to a high of $34, call it, in shoot, how can I move this? Oh my god. Sorry about that. Okay, so it got up to a high in September of 2018. No ads. September of 2018 to $34. Came back down during that correction we had in October, or in like mid to late 2018. And then it came back up. So it came back up with the rest of the market. It again touched that previous high of about $34 over here, and it was bouncing around using that as resistance for a good part of the year, right? And then we had this bull rally, right? Along with all other kind of equities, aapl, Tesla, you guys know it if you guys are involved in the space. Everything started rallying around the Q4, like the fourth quarter of 2019, right? Until recently, right? Until the end of last month and the beginning of this month, which it is currently March. And that is when we started seeing this correction happen, okay? So again, I just want to talk to you about the reason I'm shorting AMD specifically. This is the largest short in my short portfolio. And I mean, I have to think, like, coronavirus, this is legitimately a very big deal. We don't know the potential repercussions this could have. We don't know what's going to happen. But just looking at this chart, this does not look too hot. We know that these equities are going to be affected come earnings season, which is in a couple months. So I am very confident that this will reach roughly the 34. Like previous highs, that's usually what happens when it comes down really hard. You can see when this fell, it ended up touching almost exactly right there. So it touched 1645 right there, is like just about $17. So typically when something I mean, the higher you climb, the harder you'll fall, right? So I think it makes sense in my mind, just based on almost entry level TA, that it will reach this $34 level, just because we've seen so much resistance and support around that level previously. And you can see as well, that's when the real breakout happened with AMD, was when it broke that $34 level. It shot up to like $37 and then to $40. Okay. So I think I'm pretty confident, honestly, that it'll come back down to $34. That's why I have a May, I think I have a, no, I have a June 15th short contract in place that AMD will hit $35. So that is my largest short play. Let's move on to actually, let's go to Ether. So cryptocurrency again takes up about 30% of my portfolio right now. Was it 30 or 40? Sorry, 40% of my let's go back to the pie chart. Sorry, 40% of my portfolio. You can see me thinking there for a second. So yeah, so crypto as a whole takes up 40% of my portfolio. Ether and Bitcoin both share about 20%. No, sorry. Yeah, about 20%. So 20% Ether, actually probably like 30% Ether, 20% Bitcoin. Then I also own probably like 20% chainlink, and then I own like a little bit of XRP, EOS, and Tron. And I'll actually make a full breakdown of my crypto portfolio in the future. So let me know if you guys want to see that. But that's roughly what it is, just for the sake of me explaining this. Okay. So yeah, this is a chart of Ether. Again, like I said, I'll just bring up the kind of like the largest segment of of my holdings in the segment of my portfolio. It's kind of meta there. But so Ether is my largest holding. As I was saying before, this is not a defensive portfolio. This chart doesn't look too great right now, but I believe, again, that once people need to find a market to flock to that will make them money, because again, all investors want to make money. That's why you are an investor. That's why you are in the markets. Once people see crypto going up, which I do feel like it'll probably do, Ethereum specifically, I think it'll probably bounce off like 180, just because there's a lot going on around here. Again, back to kind of the technicals of support and resistance. It'll probably bounce off 180, but then I'm confident, again, it might not happen. I'm confident it'll probably hit 180 and then start going back up once people need a market to flock to after more fear sets in about traditional equity markets not doing well. So again, I'll do a more deep dive into my crypto portfolio in the future. But yeah, crypto and holds a good place in my heart, and it is the largest part of my portfolio. And I do think it'll do well over the midterm and definitely long term. So gold, my largest holding in gold is Barrick Gold Corporation. As you can see here, this is a very bullish chart. It is still doing pretty well. It's obviously seen some, so this is tracking since May of 2019. So just over a year. It started to take off in late May, early June. It's when that gold rally of 2019 started. So it's been doing well. This is, in my eyes, still a bullish chart. I mean, it's still even above. I mean, it broke when the markets crashed about a week ago. It crashed along with it. So that's really showing that there's fear in the markets right now. If what is viewed traditionally as a safe haven asset is crashing right there along with equities. So it crashed. Again, we could see some volatility in the future, but this, I mean, I can't imagine that it's going to drop lower than about $19. So again, this is Barrick Gold Corporation. That is my largest gold holding. I also own some GLD, which is SPDR Gold Trust, Spider Gold Trust. That honestly is probably the safest. We'll pull this up quick. That's honestly probably the safest bet, and it's doing better than everything else too. So, I mean, just looking at the charts, that should be my largest holding, but I think there's more potential upside for gold miners. So that's why Barrick Gold, and actually Yamana Gold, which is AUI. And again, this doesn't look too pretty when it comes to looking at the chart and the technicals either. But I believe that once gold takes off, and again, it all comes back to these investors wanting a market that will make them money. And then once that snowball starts rolling down the mountain, that is just going to keep bringing more and more investors into the space. And then I think that as gold prices rise, like gold when it comes to like the price per ounce rises, then these miners will take off. And that's kind of my same mentality with silver. Again, actually, sorry, we're going to silver here, and this is First Majestic Silver. So of all the research I've done on silver, and I've been pretty into the silver space for a while, I think First Majestic is probably the most well-run company when it comes to silver miners. They're profitable. Their CEO is a cool guy. I've watched a few interviews with him, and I think they have a good head on their shoulders when it comes to just running a company, and they have a good vision for what they want to accomplish. And they do believe in the fact that silver will do well, again, specifically over this potential recession. Okay, so this is a super, actually kind of pretty chart. I mean, I think the ugliest part of this is over. Prior to breaking out, this was at almost exactly the level it's at now. It kind of bounced off this look, yeah, the low today. So the low today was 677, and then that resistance where I drew the line before it broke out in June of last year, along with gold, was around that was 675. So it's using this as support right now. So I'm thinking that, again, as people move into precious metals, that this, I feel like it just can't go much lower than this based on the technicals and the fundamentals of what's going on right now. So I think First Majestic specifically, will probably bounce off this off the support level or resistance, and it will continue to go up after that because it's seen a pretty rough past few months. But again, as the precious metal space starts to grow more and people start putting their money there more, I think these mining companies will do extremely well. So yeah, as far as silver is concerned, my largest position is AG. Right behind that is Mag Silver, which I have a lot of shoot, I forgot I had all these lines drawn. So obviously you can see I drew like a uptrend channel right there. It got super broken, and then there was just kind of these trend lines right here, and once that broke, it kept going down. It's kind of using that as support right now, but I'm rambling now. I'm not going to get into the technicals. So when it comes to silver, AG, First Majestic, and MAG are my two largest holdings. And yeah, sorry I kind of rambled there, but that is my recession portfolio. Again, so you guys understand, again, I can't try to convey this message enough because I think it's kind of sketchy if I actually do consider this investment advice. So this is just my take on the current situation. I just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts and what I'm doing going into this. Again, this is not a defense portfolio. If you guys want to play it safe, liquidate, get cash, okay? Get cash, buy some bonds maybe. This is a mid to long term, as in like 6 to 12 months, offensive portfolio. So crypto, gold, silver, those things, I cannot make any promises, and no one can, about the near term actions of those markets, okay? But I do believe that within the next 6 to 12 months, as I said before and many times during this video, I think they will do well over the mid to long term. And I truly do believe in the spaces. It's just about time. It's about time for these markets to do well. And again, as earnings come up and people really do realize the impact that this virus is having on the economy, then people will start to flock to these other markets that will provide them with returns. Okay, so I appreciate you guys watching. Sorry, that was a little long-winded. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment below. I'll respond to every one of them, even if you just want to talk about what's going on right now, or even if it doesn't relate to this. Drop a comment. I'm always down to talk with you guys, and yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll try to make that specific crypto portfolio video in the future, so let me know if you guys want to see that. And yeah, I really just appreciate you guys watching. So be safe out there, invest your money wisely, do your own research, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.